Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now.
I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo.
The president versus the Pope. Mr. Trump's harsh words and how the Pope is responding tonight after a 60 Minutes interview with 3 American cardinals. And the controversial image the president deleted from his Truth Social today. Norah O'Donnell, who spoke to the president just moments ago, here with new exclusive reporting tonight. Also breaking moments ago, the congressman at the center of those allegations involving sexual assault has just resigned. The new investigation into Eric Swalwell and what he's saying tonight. An arrest in that firebombing attack on the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. That picture Altman posted over the weekend and what he said. Plus, a CBS News exclusive, the new clues in the search for that missing American woman in the Bahamas. What she said in text messages to a friend about her husband, now under arrest over her disappearance. And the famous Miami hotel demolished and the messy aftermath. Also, the good stuff caught on camera at an NBA game, what this arguing couple is saying about love tonight.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Good evening. We are following that breaking news on Capitol Hill, an apology and a resignation from Congressman Eric Swalwell, who had already suspended his run for California governor in the face of multiple accusations of sexual misconduct. A full report on that in just a moment. But we begin with Donald Trump and Pope Leo, 2 of the most influential people on the planet, each with the ability to shape history with what they say, now saying quite a lot about each other, and it's getting personal. Pope Leo has made clear his opposition to the president's war in Iran, urging Americans to ask their leaders for peace and describing the president's recent threat to wipe out Iranian civilization as truly unacceptable. Now the president has commented back, saying the Pope should, quote, get his act together and stop catering to the radical left. He also posted this image of himself in the likeness of Jesus Christ before deleting it without apology. The feud continued today, and it grew with the Pope beginning a 10-day tour of Africa, saying, quote, I have no fear of the Trump administration. Now, the president started posting about the Pope shortly after Norah O'Donnell's 60 Minutes report on the subject last night. And Norah, you join me now. I don't think that was a coincidence. And you just got off the phone with the president. What did he have to say?
And the president confirmed he was watching our 60-minute report. The president in our conversation is doubling down on his condemnation of Pope Leo, saying he's wrong on the issues, should not be getting into politics, and he has no plans to call the Holy Father. Now, as for Pope Leo, he had his own message for the president today.
I have no fear of neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel.
Aboard the papal plane today, Pope Leo refused to back down, following President Trump's unprecedented insults.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him.
But that's exactly what he's done. In a lengthy post on Truth Social Sunday night, President Trump called the Pope weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. That post came after the president watched our 60 Minutes interview with 3 influential American cardinals who echoed Pope Leo's recent criticisms of the president's war with Iran and the policy of mass deportation.
Is this a just war?
No. Under Catholic teaching, this is not a just war. Catholic faith teaches us there are certain prerequisites for a just war. You can't go for a variety of different aims. You have to have a focus aim, which is to restore justice and restore peace. That's it.
Tensions between the White House and the Vatican have been mounting for months.
This was discussed during the campaign. It was widely discussed. And yet President Trump won the Catholic vote over Kamala Harris handily, 55 to 43%. He promised to secure the border. He talked about deportation, and a majority of Catholics voted for the policy.
I would like to know what Catholics feel about this indiscriminate mass deportation. I think that it's very clear the American people are saying we really didn't vote for this.
After widespread backlash, including from Christian conservatives, the president today refused to apologize to Pope Leo.
Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against
what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you cannot have a nuclear Iran.
And Tony, you mentioned that photo that President Trump posted showing himself as a Jesus-like figure. Well, the president told me just moments ago he was surprised by the outrage that it caused and thought he was being depicted as a doctor by a, quote, very beautiful, talented artist. The image appears to be AI generated. Now, even members of the Christian right who typically support the president were offended, calling it, quote, inappropriate and blasphemous. One of the president's closest supporters said, quote, God shall not be mocked. But it's clear the president heard the message because he took that picture down without apology.
Without apology, very rare for the president to backtrack in any way, and so that's a clear example of that. Now let's go back to Pope Leo, first American pope. Is there any indication that he will come here to America to make his case?
I asked President Trump that specifically, and he said it's up to him. But look, there is a rift in their relationship. If Pope Leo were to ever come to the United States, he would have to meet the head of the state, President Trump. As of today, that relationship is frayed.
Norah O'Donnell, extraordinary reporting, really.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. And of course, as we mentioned, this is happening as the Pope starts a four-nation swing through Africa. Now, popes often try to avoid controversies on such a trip, but that's not how this one's playing out. Foreign correspondent Chris Livesay is traveling with the Pope and has more from his first stop in Algeria. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening. Well, clashes between popes and presidents are nothing new, but they've almost always been handled quietly. Things started to change in 2016 against the backdrop of President Trump's immigration policy. Pope Francis said building walls is not Christian. Trump called it disgraceful to question someone's faith like that. But what culminated last night on Truth Social goes further. One Vatican expert told me that never in the history of U.S.-Vatican relations has a clash been so visceral and so public. And the timing matters. Pope Leo responded just hours after Trump's remarks, breaking with tradition. Popes typically only engage with journalists at the end of a trip to avoid overshadowing the trip itself. To stand his ground at the start of this trip, before the plane had even landed, suggests just how important it was for Pope Leo to double down on his message of peace. Tony?
Chris Livesay in Algeria. Chris, thank you very much. Now to the war with Iran. Still officially in a ceasefire, but face-to-face peace talks failed over the weekend, and President Trump is now trying to force Iran to meet his terms by closing its ports. Here's senior White House correspondent Weijia Zhang.
Tonight, at least 13 U.S. warships are blocking all tankers going to and from Iranian ports, an effort to choke off Iran's economic lifeline and dial up pressure to reach a peace deal after marathon talks over the weekend failed to produce one.
I can tell you that we've been called by the other side. They'd like to make a deal very badly. Very badly.
Now, the Pentagon is warning that any ship trying to get through without authorization is subject to interception, diversion, and capture. But the move could backfire by putting American assets at risk and restricting the global oil supply. President Trump defended his decision.
They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen. And, you know, the amazing thing is we don't. Can you believe this? We don't use this trade. We don't need this trade.
Today, crude oil prices hit almost $100 a barrel, with average U.S. gas prices at $4.12 a gallon. This weekend, Trump was asked if oil and gas prices will be lower before the midterm elections in November.
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be. It could be or the same or maybe a little bit higher.
A new CBS News poll found more than half of Americans say gas prices have been a financial hardship. Iran's parliament speaker had this message: enjoy the current pump figures. With the so-called blockade, soon you'll be nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas.
DoorDash order for you, Mr. President.
Today, Trump tried to shift the focus to a popular economic policy by having fast food delivered to the White House. The driver, a grandmother from Arkansas, says no tax on tips has made a huge difference.
I saved over $11,000 by not having the claim.
U.S. officials tell CBS News there's continued engagement with Iran and forward motion toward reaching an agreement. But so far, Iran has refused to give up their nuclear ambitions. President Trump says that is not negotiable. Tony.
Weijia Zhang at the White House. Weijia, thank you very much. Staying in Washington to that breaking news from Capitol Hill, California Congressman Eric Swalwell announced this evening he is stepping down amid multiple investigations for alleged sexual misconduct, sexual assault, and ethics violations. Here's CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns with late developments.
Facing multiple accusations of sexual misconduct, California Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell said he'll resign, adding, "I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make." Swalwell, a married father of 3, was considered a frontrunner in the race for governor of California, but allegations from 4 women led him to suspend his campaign Sunday.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false. They did not happen.
One former staffer accused Swalwell of forcing her to have sex in 2024 in a New York hotel room after a night of heavy drinking.
In my flash that I can recall, I was pushing him off of me saying no. He didn't stop.
CBS News has not independently verified the woman's identity or allegations. The Manhattan District Attorney is investigating the incident. Many of Swalwell's Democratic colleagues had called on him to step down.
Eric Swalwell needs to resign. The allegations are too serious and too credible.
Florida Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna was pushing a measure to expel Swalwell from Congress. And she says Republican Tony Gonzalez, who admitted to an affair with a staffer who later died by suicide, also needs to go.
I don't think that Congress should be a rehab center for predators.
And Tony, we've got more breaking news. Just moments ago, Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who you saw there, announced that he will leave his seat, and he'll file that when he returns to Congress tomorrow.
Caitlin Huey-Burns with the breaking news. Caitlin, thank you very much. To St. Louis today, where police body cam video shows the moment an officer shot and killed a 17-year-old in 2024. Police have said the boy was pointing a gun at officers. The video released by the teenager's family shows he was running away when the officer shouted, "Drop the gun," twice, and then fired 4 shots, including one that hit the teen in the back of the head. He does not appear to have anything in his hands. The officer is on paid desk duty while the case is under review. We have new details tonight in the arrest of a 20-year-old man in a firebombing attack on the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. While Altman and his family were not hurt, he says the incident is part of a growing outbreak of AI anxiety. Here's Chief Correspondent Matt Gutman.
Late today, the FBI released the first images of the man they say threw a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's San Francisco home.
Someone threw a Molotov cocktail / sticky bomb at the gate of Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI's residence.
The next images show him fleeing. Investigators say 20-year-old Daniel Moreno Gama then went to the OpenAI headquarters in downtown San Francisco.
There's a subject threatening to burn down the building. Security sees subject holding a jug. Claims there's kerosene in it.
They say he threw a chair at the glass doors and sought to, quote, burn it down and kill anyone inside. San Francisco police arrested him and say they found incendiary devices and a jug of kerosene on him.
This was not spontaneous. This was planned and extremely serious. Acts targeting technology companies are not just local crimes. They have broader implications in economic security and public safety.
Investigators said the trail today led them 2,000 miles away to the suspect's home in Spring, Texas. In the hours after the attack, Altman posted this photo of his family, suggesting the incident was connected to the broader debate over AI, saying we should de-escalate the rhetoric and tactics and try to have fewer explosions in fewer homes, figuratively and literally.
And Tony, investigators say they found writings by the suspect entitled "Your Final Warning," also issuing threats not just against Altman, but also against other AI executives, also listing their addresses. If convicted, he could face up to life in prison, Tony.
All right, Matt Gutman. Matt, thank you very much. 2 Artemis II astronauts reunited with their families over the weekend, sharing the photos on social media. Here's Captain Reed Wiseman with his daughters and pilot Victor Glover with his wife and 4 daughters. And Christina Cook posted this sweet homecoming video of her dog Sadie, tail wagging, so excited. Cook is smiling too, though, and says pretty sure she's the happier side of this reunion. Very sweet. Still ahead, our exclusive update on the case of the missing mom in the Bahamas, what she said in text messages about her relationship with her husband. We have exclusive new details tonight from the Bahamas on the case of the missing Michigan woman. CBS News has obtained text messages that Lynette Hooker sent to a friend about her time at sea with her husband back in 2024. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides is in the Bahamas with more.
American Brian Hooker is facing tough questions as Bahamian authorities investigate him over the disappearance of his wife Lynette, missing since he says she fell overboard more than a week ago.
So far, there is no evidence that she is dead. And so that is an important element that they would have to prove in any charge of murder.
CBS News obtained messages the Michigan mother sent to a friend back in January 2024, shedding light on what appeared to be trouble at sea. It was too much closeness. We decided to call it quits. We were married 21 years. Our marriage lasted 6 weeks cruising. It was real bad. I can't be out there with him. A month later, the couple was back together.
Can you just tell me what's going through your mind?
It makes me sad that
Lynette's daughter, Carly Aylesworth, speaking to us for the first time since Hooker's arrest.
I don't want it to be true because he was part of my life growing up and I care about him. So it's just hard to see someone that you care about possibly doing something like this.
CBS News obtained these maps, apparently sent by Brian to friends, showing what he says is the last day they spent together before she went missing.
It was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never going to forgive myself for.
And it is getting down to the wire here. Brian Hooker's attorney said that authorities have until 7:20 p.m., so the next 30 minutes to decide whether to charge him or release him. If he is charged, he will be in court tomorrow. Now, Tony, there is a chance that they could release him and immediately rearrest him, and then the clock resets. Tony?
Christian Benavides will be following it. Thank you very much, Christian. Up next, an iconic hotel demolished and the mess it left behind. For folks in Clifton, New Jersey, you heard a sound at 2:30 this morning. Here's what it was. A tractor trailer carrying dog food slammed into a building, knocking it right off its foundation after the driver lost control. He is expected to be okay. It's the end of an era in Miami over the weekend. Watch as all 23 stories of the Mandarin Oriental Hotel turn into a pile of rubble after a controlled implosion. Sunday's demolition took just 20 seconds and makes way for a planned new hotel and condos. Up next, the good stuff, a couple exchanging words at a hoops game and the millions speculating on what those words were. We're back with the good stuff. Late last week, a couple was caught on camera at a live sporting event, and the moment went insanely viral. But it wasn't scandalous, wasn't salacious. In fact, most people thought it was wholesome. It happened at the Pacers-Nets game in Brooklyn, with announcers noting the great fan turnout for the visiting Pacers, at which point this couple is on the local telecast. He's making some kind of an argument. She's picking at some arena food, looking a little bored. And then the moment. There's no sound, but she seems to say, and has since confirmed, "What the heck are you talking about?" Except stronger language. And he shuts up immediately. His face seems to say, "Yeah, actually, you make a good point." What really made this so viral was the unexpected romance of it all. The platonic ideal of a relationship, said one person, while another wrote, "This couple is full of magic and gonna last forever." The woman, Grace, eventually posted about it too, saying, "I love my boyfriend. This is just how we talk." But what were they talking about, she and her boyfriend, Michael? Of all things, the value of a liberal arts education, which is another way of saying it could have been anything. Grace and Michael say they have just one piece of advice for other couples. Find someone you can talk to. It's good advice. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.